And we're live with another episode of BS Busters. I'm joined by Kanoshi, who will introduce himself. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
This is Kanoshi Abominito. Glad to be on another one of these BS Busters, and Microsoft's just gonna buy everyone, aren't they? They're gonna buy the entire world.
Yes, yes, they are. Followed by Sony buying all the sloppy seconds.
Yeah,
The sloppiest of seconds.
yeah,
so, um, so basically, we have quite a few topics for tonight's cast. Hopefully, we'll be joined by Jewel Rider eventually.
yeah.
But anyway, we've got some good topics. So the topics we have are let's see, what do we got here? We've got so we're rolling in topics from Saturday, but we only had like two topics Saturday, which was the first one was Sony buying Evo. And they're like, nothing's gonna change. I'm like, bullshit. That's
Yeah.
like listening to listening to them say nothing's gonna change is the equivalent of is the equivalent of Microsoft saying, yeah, we're not gonna make all these games exclusives from Bethesda. It's like, come on, man. Who are you fooling? Yeah. Like clearly these games are gonna be exclusives, you know?
Thinking otherwise would be like thinking EA is going to get rid of their Ultimate Team cards.
No, because it makes too much money. And with that being said, let's have you introduce yourself and then we can dive into these topics.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the BS Busters Bitweek Podcast, the 24th. And if I got it right, I think we got more headaches coming this way.
Well, I mean, aside from Sony buying Evo, which I was just like, what?
Yeah, it makes me wonder what the holy heavens gave Sony the idea of that.
I mean, that's not. Well, I mean, here's what happened. Okay, like they saw that Microsoft bought ZeniMax Media, which has Bethesda, Arcane, id, a whole bunch of other studios underneath them, right? And you know that's a big baller move for $7.5 billion. That's a baller ass move. And then Sony's like, shit, we ain't got $7.5 billion just lying around, and we'll buy this fighting game tournament promotion thing that had a major scandal last year because it turns out that one of the major people there was a child molester and had a whole cadre of
Oh.
child molesters that basically had children around them that they were molesting. and they couldn't even make money last year. They were hurting for money because not only because of the whole child molester thing, but also because they're a private business concern that makes their money off of hosting these tournaments, and they couldn't even get that going last year. So I mean, they were in financial dire straits, and everything was falling apart for them. And you know, Big Papa.
Yikes.
Sony swooped in there and was like, hey, how
And Sony had to save Evo.
about we buy
That
your shit, huh?
that's that's like my yeah, that's like Nintendo trying to save E3.
Yeah, like why?
And you can bet how good that's gonna look.
I would trust Nintendo more to buy an E3 than Sony buying Evo. Because they're just
Wow.
going to turn Evo into a big commercial for Sony shit. That's all it's going to be.
Oh, oh yeah. And that just reminded me of something that I just realized. Oh boy. If Sony gets Evo, I can imagine how pissed off the other two companies are going to be if games that are exclusive to them that are fighting games suddenly went poof.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. Because here's the thing: the only game that's really like at Evo that is kind of like Nintendo centric that's at Evo is Smash Brothers.
Smash.
And to be honest, I mean, can we
Yeah.
say that Smash Brothers is really a fighting game? Is it? Not really.
Oh, really?
Not
I
really.
consider it a mixed genre.
I know people like to call. I know that a lot of people are like, "Yeah, it's a fighting game." I'm like, is it though?
It it's customizable to be one, but I don't see it being
Yeah, but
that much.
it wasn't. Like, okay, the original Smash Brothers was a party game. Smash Brothers on the GameCube was a party game. Smash Brothers on the Wii was a party game. It's not until you get the Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate that you get Smash being like not a party game.
I could fully agree with you there. It's just that as I was thinking that that Smash is kind of a fine line between party game and normal fighting game with the options it gives you.
To me, I don't
But
consider it to be a fighting game.
but I consider it more of a party game because that's not the default stat. I mean, the default stats to work with.
I do not consider it to be a fighting game just because it originally was not a fighting game. Smash only became a fighting game because people who wanted to play it competitively forced fighting game conventions into Smash. But that's not originally what it was supposed to be. It's a party game. Um, like if you're playing Mario Kart competitively, that takes the fun out of it because it's supposed to be a party game.
Yeah, I get you. I was just saying that there's at least some there's at least that it can be a fighting game, but it but it has but it's more in line with what was pure chaos, which makes it more of a party game.
I guess so, but that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. Um, so with that being said,
I was saying that it's a mix there.
anyone have anything else they want to add about Sony buying Evo before we move on to more Sony news? Because there's been a lot of news revolving around Sony lately.
Oh
I
boy.
how many people outside of the games, outside of, you know, uh, outside of the online aspect of video games really cares about Evo?
Um, I mean,
People like us who look into what's going on with video game news or whatever.
I mean, the thing is that I normally, if this was 5 years ago or even 6 or 7 years ago, I would agree with you. But Evo has started to get big enough to where, um, like normal news stations will talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So it
Yeah.
isn't just a,
Yeah.
um, you know, well, only certain people are talking about this. It's like the Twilight books, right? Like
Yeah.
Twilight, like used to be a thing that only, pre-adolescent girls who, um, you know, maybe wanted to read about sex but couldn't get their hands on really really filthy shit, so they'd read Twilight. Um,
Yeah.
that basically like Twilight was appealed to that crowd, and then they made it into a movie which hit a larger audience, and more people were talking about the shit. So I mean, that's kind of like Evo. Like Evo used to be kind of like this almost underground local thing, and then it got big, and now it's big enough to where it's even bigger. So I mean, like I said, personally, I think the only reason that Sony bought Evo is so that they would have a platform to promote their fucking systems. Because that's what the shit's about. It's about promoting their systems.
Which you can't poke at the hustle, but you gotta poke at something else that they do,
I mean,
and that could be a good transition.
they put their money on a just they bought out a distressed financial, um, you know, financially speaking company. So I
A
can't knock the
financial
hustle.
SOS.
Because like I said, they were essentially fucked last year, um, due to the catastrophe with the child
with
molestation
the with the
allegations,
world disaster.
and then the Corona thing where people like every festival was getting canceled, and rightly so because if you have a contagious virus that's airborne, why would you want to have an event where a whole bunch of like here's the thing, I don't know, like have any of you guys ever been to a convention?
No, I have no
I
desire to go to one of those things.
I have.
I know, and I have to say that it's tempting, but you have to remember that there's a lot of people around. Buyers,
Well,
sellers, fans.
here's the thing, okay? Buyers and sellers try to be as try to have some modicum of safety. But those nerds who go to that shit, I'm talking dudes who go there and don't shower before they get there, don't wear deodorant or don't wear strong enough deodorant, so they're sweaty, they smell. You've got tons of people clustered up together, so the smell gets even worse. And the reason I say this is because they had a local Comic Con type thing near where I live in DC that I went to for
Wolf.
5 years back in the day. And let me tell you something, man. The body odor, the funk, and and just
I said
how
wolf, right?
just I mean it was a stench that hit you in a way that just
It
I
will
can't
be
even
stuck in
describe
your
it.
head for years,
I
right?
can't even describe it.
Are you,
Let me put it this way. I was an athlete in high school. Okay, I played volleyball, soccer, baseball, um, and practiced Muay Thai. Uh, and three of those were locker room situations where I don't have to go into a locker room with a whole bunch of sweaty dudes. We were all sweating, pubescent sweaty dudes. So hormones are raging, sweat. Even then, with the funk that was in that locker room, still doesn't hold a candle to the fucking stench
fog convention?
that that I experienced in that convention with these stinky motherfuckers. And I haven't even told you how people will go to the bathroom and won't even bother. Like they'll miss the seat and say "fuck it" for number one and number
Oh no!
two, and won't wash their hands.
Oh,
Like I mean, these
oh
people
my!
are disgusting. So I can
Yeah,
understand. I can understand why people are like, we're canceling these conventions because I'm like, with the hygiene that I've seen at conventions. And here's the thing, like this is just my experience at a small semi-regional convention. I have heard horror stories from the big conventions like E3,
bigger conventions.
PAX, shit like that. Too many games. So I know for a fact that there was no way people were going to be safe at those places with Corona going on. Not even like it's not even worth. It's just like, well, fuck it. So I'm glad they canceled the shit. But for people whose money is based on that shit, their money got fucked. Their money got savagely curtailed. So
Yeah,
uh,
I feel sorry for those guys more than the party goers.
it got shut off. Speaking of things getting shut off, this is a nice segue to our next story concerning Sony. Sony is pulling the plug on their PSN support for the PS3, the PSP, and the PS Vita. So
The only one I'm not surprised about is the Vita.
Um, I mean, considering that Sony abandoned the Vita like 2 years into its life cycle, I'm surprised they kept the PSN on there that long. The PS3, I'm a bit surprised because there's still people who are buying PS3s. Um, believe it or not. Um,
A little shocking.
yeah, there are people still buying PS3s. Um, let's see what else. That's it. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
All things. The Grim Reaper always gets his due. Though I'm surprised for one of them that it lasted so long.
What PSN on the PS3, PS Vita, and PSP?
PSN on the Vita.
I mean, like, yeah, I'm surprised too because Sony didn't give a fuck about the Vita anyway. You know, like the Vita.
Yeah, exactly.
The Vita was like Sony had an outside kid when they were like 16, 15 years old, and they just like wrote that kid off, out of sight, out of mind. They're like, I don't have no outside kid. It's like, come on, man. I mean, they do not. They didn't do shit for the Vita. I mean, literally less than 2 years into the life cycle of that handheld, they were like, "Well, fuck it, we're going all in on the PS4." Kenoshi,
yeah.
you have any thoughts about it? Yes, no, maybe so, sir.
Kanashi?
Okay. We'll keep it moving. Kenoshi, you have any thoughts on Sony pulling the plug on the PSN on 3 of their legacy devices?
Yeah, hopefully they have a way of well, they probably won't, because I was listening to a cast about it a few days ago, and what's his name, the head of PlayStation, basically said that games are old, so why would anybody want to replay those old games? So they're probably not going to.
Well, of course. Why would you want to go and download your old games on your old consoles when Sony can just put them on the updated network and sell them to you for half price? And yeah. I'm guilty of it because I got a PS4 Pro and I rebought Dark Cloud and what was that other game? Rogue Galaxy, and I have those games on the PS2, but I bought them again for the PS4 digitally.
What's confusing about the PS4 is they only have PS2 games for sale. They don't have PlayStation games for sale.
Yeah, the PS4 is kind of one of those weird consoles. But, I mean, look, we can't talk shit about Sony and not bring in their eternal competitor, Nintendo. I mean, how are you going to have virtual console replacement that's worse than... a virtual console replacement that you pay for that's worse than the virtual console that you had that was a la carte? That's weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to step backwards and charge people for it? But, what you gonna do?
Yeah, it'd be nice if you can just, either buy a pack of those games or buy those games individually and keep them without having to subscribe to their service.
Yeah, it would be nice, but, if wishes were fishes, everyone would eat. So yeah. Sony. I mean, like, I'm surprised they're selling. Hey, you're playing Octopath Traveler. I'm doing a Let's Play of Octopath Traveler. Yeah, Let's Play.
Good wishes to you.
I'm playing it on PC. I'm playing it with a trainer. I'm cheating my ass off.
I said.
I didn't.
Yeah, like I played the game on the. I got it on the Switch originally. I did it the traditional way where you don't cheat and you beat the game by not cheating. And now I'm cheating and the game is going so much faster because I don't have to grind for levels or money. Because having Tressa with her mercenary ability or judge or JP or job points with her mercenary skill and then calling up like veteran mercenaries to use their sword attack that even if the enemies aren't weak against it, unless they have really friggin' high stats, just wipes out enemies. Oh man, it's so cheap. It's so cheap.
Yeah. The only thing I would bug you on that is a playthrough would be like showing how the game is played entirely.
Well, I mean, the basic skills are the same whether you use a cheat to give yourself high, like you grinding to get job points. The grind just changes the amount of time you have to do and that type of shit. The overall strategies stay the same, especially for the final boss. The final boss is a motherfucker. Uh, even if you cheat, he is not to be trifled with.
Yeah, I just gave myself a lot of money. I gave myself all the money. That's all I did for the trainer.
I did money, job points. I didn't do experience because that fucks up your stat growth. But I did money, job points, and that's it. There's also a thing on the trainer I'm using that lets you speed up the game so it's not as slow in some parts because the game can kind of drag just with your movement speed in the overworld map.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just
I
convenience.
think I get you.
Like that's the one thing that bothers me is because a lot of games that I played originally, like before I got the Famicom version of certain games, I would play them on Zsness, and Zsness lets you speed up the gameplay. So RPGs that had really slow walking speed on the SNES, like with Zsness, it wasn't an issue. And so I really miss that faster speed when I'm like playing the original versions of the games on my modded on my well not modded my Super Famicom. It's like I wish I could speed this shit up, but whatever. But anyway, enough about that. I guess it's time for me to give my quick spoilery takes on the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Ironically, it is the
Viewer
best.
discretion is.
No, go ahead. You were gonna say something.
I said viewer discretion advice since if you're not into spoilers, this is your time to leave for a bit.
Well, it's not going to take me that long. It is. The film is the best Zack Snyder produced DC Cinematic Universe film. However, I'm damning him with faint praise because Man of Steel was like a 71. Batman v Superman was like a 50. And this film is like a 75, which is still a D. You know what I mean? Like Man of Steel was barely a D, bordering on an F. Batman v Superman was just an F, just a straight up F. And this film is like a solid D. And if you add all those grades together and then do the average, it's an F. It's 66.5666 ad infinitum. Which, if you round that up, is 66%. So, really, I mean, basically what I'm saying is this. Zack Snyder's stewardship over the DC Cinematic Universe was a resounding failure. And the one thing I learned from watching the Snyder Cut and the Joss Whedon cut of this film is Warner Brothers fucked both of those directors. They fucked Joss Whedon because basically they didn't give Joss Whedon the time or the money to really make the changes that would have made the footage he was given something coherent. And they fucked Zack Snyder because they should have never put him in. They should have never made him the architect for their universe. So basically, both men had the sword of Damocles hanging over their head. And I think Joss Whedon got fucked a little bit more because, like, basically, Joss Whedon was the equivalent of you're having your house worked on, and the plumber you had fucked up 3 floors of your house, and then you call in another plumber to fix it at the last minute when your house has like 3 feet of water in the basement. and then get mad that they can't fix the shit that you let one dude fuck up 3 floors of your house on. I mean, it's like, you know,
God,
that's kind of
that's like
it's
it's
kind of
like
unfair.
watching the Three Stooges screw up your house and expecting at least one of them to fix it.
Kind of like that. It's like, hey, fix this. Well, I mean, I really wasn't in charge of this. Fix it anyway. But I'm not really. I mean, maybe if you had called me first before this other dude came in and fucked everything up, I could do something for you. Fix it. Here's some money. Fix it. I'll do the best I can, but you know.
Yeah, as I said, it's like having the Three Stooges try to fix your place.
So the film is The film is 4 hours plus long. It ends at like 3 hours and 40 minutes or so. But then there's like all these epilogue scenes for shit that Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers is never gonna continue. Spoiler alert: at the end of the film, they show Martian Manhunter for some reason. Like they're ever gonna fucking make a Martian Manhunter movie? This is just some pretentious bullshit. I mean, here's the thing: the only people who are gonna enjoy this film are people who are major fans of Zack Snyder's vision, and that's it.
To be honest with you, I was hoping that it at least try to repair some of the damage that was in the DC universe already. Did it at least do that?
No. If you are a fan of Zack Snyder's vision, then you're gonna love this. If you're a fan of these characters, you're not gonna like it. Zack Snyder, this is how bad Zack Snyder's. Kenoshi and I were discussing this off air before the podcast began. Zack Snyder, the anchor, the foundation of Zack Snyder's cinematic universe is Man of Steel. And what Zack Snyder showed in Man of Steel is that he fundamentally doesn't understand Superman's character at all, and doesn't want to understand Superman's character.
Ooh.
Okay? And yet he, in the 4-hour cut of this fucking film, Zack Snyder still could not understand. He did not get Superman right. Like, you can say whatever you want to about Joss Whedon, but at least he had a character that was close to what Superman is supposed to be. Not in this shit. Superman is legitimately murdering the shit out of a dude and smiling while doing it.
Oh.
Which, I mean, even when Superman is facing some of his worst enemies, he's never happy about doing it. Not this Superman. He's smiling while he's killing a dude. And I'm like, fuck you, Zack Snyder. You should have never been in charge of this shit. But anyway, so yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just that it made me do a double take.
Well, it didn't make me do a double take. It just let me realize that Zack Snyder was the wrong person to be in charge of this universe. Like, there's certain people who you give someone a chance, they fuck it up, and then you realize after the fact, this person should have never been in a position of power. Ever.
I was trying to say that he couldn't. I was thinking he couldn't do worse than what was already done. That's why I doubled.
Let me put it this way. Anyone here seen Superman Returns with Bryan Singer?
I was told it was terrible.
It's pretty bad.
Try to look for the reviews.
It's pretty bad. Superman Returns is pretty bad. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace is pretty bad. Superman 3 is pretty bad. I would rather watch all 3 of those movies on loop than ever see Man of Steel or Batman v Superman or the Snyder Cut ever again as long as I live. Because at least Superman acts like fucking Superman in those films versus what Zack Snyder did, which he has a psychopathic Superman who is a piece of shit, really. Like a Superman who isn't worried about trying to save anyone, a Superman who relishes in like fighting people, and he doesn't get Batman right either. So I mean, like Zack Snyder just like, okay, when it comes to, he's like Ridley Scott, where Ridley Scott comes from a art background, so Ridley Scott can frame things to look really good, but when he actually has to do a story, he can't do it because storytelling is not his strong point. Well, Zack Snyder can shoot an action scene fairly well, but when it comes to story, he's just ass at it. He can't do it. And that's Zack Snyder for you. So basically, my review of the Snyder Cut is this. Only watch it if you're a fan of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. If you like better interpretations of these characters,
this is for a very specific audience. So
yeah, if you're a Snyder fan, if you're okay with this, the Snyder Cut is the equivalent of Zack Snyder pulling down his pants and his fans kneeling down and opening their mouths and him pissing in their face. But fans of Zack Snyder like that. So if you like that, then the Snyder Cut is for you. If you don't like directors pissing in your face, then Snyder Cut's not for you. And before someone says you're being a dick because you don't like Zack Snyder. No, there's some directors who have long cuts of their movies that I enjoy, like The Godfather, part 1 and 2 spliced together so it's chronological. It's very self-indulgent, but I like it because I like The Godfather. And Francis Ford Coppola has flushed shit down the toilet that's better than anything Zack Snyder's made in years.
Ooh.
But that's my own personal opinion. But anyway, so yeah, essentially speaking, what I'm saying is this: the Snyder Cut is, the only way I would say this is something you should watch is if you're a fan of Zack Snyder. If you're not a fan of Zack Snyder and his self-indulgent bullshit, then you probably don't need to watch this. Go watch the Joss Whedon cut. You'll be much happier. Any questions? Comments? Concerns?
See, can you get a better person to lead your cinematic universes? I don't think this one could get any worse at this point.
I would be happy too, but it's not going to happen. I mean,
Yeah. I was just saying that the direction it's going now, it can't get any worse for at least a while, right?
I don't know. I'm kind of happy about Matt Reeves' Batman. Like, it finally it wrapped up principal shooting. So aside from it going to the editor and special effects departments, I still like that trailer from Matt Reeves' Batman, where this one dude was talking shit to Batman. He's like, who are you? And Batman goes up to the dude and just starts beating the shit out of him. And his boys are up there. This one dude is looking at his friend get his ass kicked. And apparently that ass whooping was so bad that the other dude was crying while he was getting his ass beat. You know, an ass whooping is bad when a person who's not even getting their ass whooped is crying because you're getting your ass whooped. That is a bad ass whooping. But aside from that, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I don't really give a shit about Aquaman 2, though. Or the next Shazam movie. The thing is that whatever Zack Snyder's taint has touched, I'm not excited about. And I also don't like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Because, the only thing she has going for her is that she's physically very attractive. She's a shitty actress. Just total shit. Fucking terrible. So anyway, yeah. The DC films are just at this point are trash, and I don't know what they can do to make them better. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I don't I'm one of those people. I didn't like Jason Momoa in Aquaman. I think he would have been better playing Lobo from DC Comics because he fucking looks exactly like Lobo. I think Zack Snyder would have been perfect had he made a fucking Lobo movie because that would have been right up his alley. Lobo is dark and gritty and made to be a parody of dark and gritty characters, and that would have been perfect. But you know, whatever. But anyway, that's enough about the Snyder Cut. So yeah, my advice is don't watch it if you don't want to waste 4 hours of your life watching the equivalent of Zack Snyder rubbing one out onto film. If you don't want to watch that, then don't watch it. If you are a Zack Snyder fan and that sounds exciting to you, watch it. Have fun. Me, I'm not a Zack Snyder fan, and you know, I think it's very rarely that a director should be allowed to be so self-indulgent as to make a 4-hour cut of anything. You have to be a damn good director for you to get away with some shit like that. And I don't think Zack Snyder is at that level. Arguably, there's only like 5 directors that I would put at the level where they could cut longer versions of their films, and I'm like, okay, I'll let you do it. Tarantino, Coppola, Spielberg. Gotta add 2 more. Maybe Carpenter to an extent, John Carpenter. And maybe Akira Kurosawa. And that's it. Like, Snyder isn't in that list. He's not even in the top 10. So yeah, there you go. Next topic. Anything you guys want to add before we move on to the next topic? Nothing?
I think we're good.
Okay then, next topic. Our next topic are franchises that need reboots. I thought this was really useful because there are a lot of old franchises that are just kind of languishing. And I don't think that's cool. So, without much ado, let's talk about it. Are there any franchises you guys wish people would do a reboot on? Let people know about it. Bring it back. Doesn't matter.
Or at least trying to. For me, this is probably me reaching far back into history, but I want to know how Primal Rage would be in the modern era.
Primal Rage with better controls.
Yes, and probably more vicious dinos than you could shake a bone at.
So less clones with color swaps.
Color.
What was the question?
Old franchises that need new installments.
It's which franchises that you want to see a revival of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said Primal Rage.
Yeah. For me, I want to see how interesting it'll be to see dinosaurs trying to rule the earth and how much chaos that can lead, and maybe even get a real storyline. And this is from somebody that had Primal Rage on the SNES.
Yeah, I did not have Primal Rage. I played it in the arcades. And the arcade is actually pretty good. The home console versions all were like kind of like they had to make a lot of sacrifices to get it to run on home consoles. So for me, Primal Rage on the home console was kind of like, I don't really like this all that much.
I don't consider it bad, but oh, heavens help you if you can't figure out how some of those controls work on the D-pad.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying. I just kind of was like always like I don't really like that. But a lot of people like Primal Rage, so I'm not gonna be like, how dare you dislike or like Primal Rage. I just always thought that the home console versions were just a little too
basic.
Not basic, just like the sacrifices they had to make in order to get them to run on home console was a little bit too much for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was trying to find the word to describe how the transfer from arcade to home console was.
Yeah, I mean, there's some games where the home console version is pretty good, and then there's some games where the home console version is clearly like almost not worth having the home console version. And Primal Rage isn't that bad. It's just like the sacrifices they had to make to get that shit to run on a home console is almost like, okay, come on. But that's just me. Kenoshi, do you have one?
Not off the top of my head.
All right, then I guess you can go last. I'll go next. The old ass franchise that I would like to see a new installment in, I've got two of them. The first one is I would like to see a new installment in I would like to see a new installment in Crystallis. And I know people are going to be like, why'd you say Crystallis? Because that is apparently the name of the game is Crystallis, not Crystallis. But yeah, I actually like Crystallis. I think it's a pretty good little game. And we had kind of a sequel. It was like a remake on the Game Boy Color. But I would like to see a new Crystallis game on the like just take the general idea, but make it into a big, huge, give it a decent budget style game with some really good graphics. I would like to see that. That'd be cool to me. To me. Keyword. And my second one is I would like to see a new, you know, in the vein of, people bringing back some old ass franchises that didn't really get their due.
Their due.
Back in the day. So I'm going with, them rebooting or doing a sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm going with another beat 'em up that I would like to see another iteration in. The Punisher. It was on the Sega Genesis, and you could play as the Punisher or Nick Fury. And I think you could totally do a new version of that game, except the Punisher would Nick Fury would be like Sam Jackson Nick Fury instead of like white guy Nick Fury that we have now. I think that'd be a really interesting game.
I agree there.
Do something new and different, interesting. That would be cool to me, but that's my own opinion. And I know everyone's going to have their personal opinion about the thing. So, what do you guys think?
I love the idea of the Punisher one. I mean, give us some new story. Give us some high-octane action, give us some real Nick Fury, and I think we'll be in the mix.
Yeah, I'd be cool with it. I guess it's your turn, Kenoshi. Old ass franchise you want to see brought back.
New Banjo Kazooie game?
Oh shit. Well, if you bring it up rare IPs, we'd be here all night. As long as it's not the new, as long as it's like that new Battletoads. That new Battletoads game is trash. It came and went like a fart in the wind.
Bad?
Well, it just wasn't. I mean, okay, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Okay, I was at least worried that if it was so bad, I would have seen it hit Warcraft 3 Reforged levels of.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. It just wasn't very good. You get what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, it's not so terrible that leaves a stain, but it's not good enough to be remembered.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. It's like even some of the shittier Battletoads games were still enjoyable. Whereas this game is not only not enjoyable, it's just kind of like blah. It's a very
flavorless.
Blah. It's a very blah game, right? Like it's just like, because the thing about Battletoads is that Battletoads, like the rare Battletoads game, had a lot of gameplay variety, and it felt good to have that gameplay variety. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The reason why I said that the Battletoads that you're talking about is kind of a flavorless thing.
Yeah, it's very flavorless. So,
just at least as long as it's not the kind of flavorless that can leave you on the floor for a week.
It's not that bad. Yeah, but I agree with Kenoshi. I would love a new Banjo Kazooie. Hell, and I'll take it a step further. Wouldn't it be awesome if we had another Conker's Bad Fur Day?
Oh, yes.
A new Conker's Bad Fur Day.
For people who are into that.
Yeah, a new Conker's Bad Fur Day, but like really expand on it. Like make it like semi-open world, mission-based objectives where you can like discover new shit and find out new shit. That would be cool to me. And I know some people are gonna be like, "Well, how could you say that? Come on, man. Conker's Bad Fur Day is not a bad game. It's not great. The controls are kind of shit, but like the writing and jokes kind of carry you through. You know what I'm saying?
The humor rolls, right?
Well, I mean, the humor kind of keeps it going. Like, defeating a boss by pissing on flames, and hitting his balls with a baseball bat and bricks and a cast iron frying pan and shit and a baseball bat. Like that's some awesome shit. Or getting like solving a puzzle by getting cows to drink prune juice and then get a series of squirts and then riding a bull so that he'll smash into the cows to get new cows to come out and do the same thing. It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's grotesque, and yet it's funny as f.
Yeah. Or getting a platform by getting a flower who's been pollinated by a bee to give you a lift. Like shit like that just makes me like hilarious to me.
Yes. And all of that to be culminated with references of the Matrix and Alien. and I'm not sure how many more others could go that way.
Well, whatever works for you. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong. I think any of Rare's classic IPs, except I have a caveat to Banjo Kazooie and Conquer and any of those games. I don't want it to be made unless some of the original developers are working on it. So that means people from Playtonic are working on it. Because I'll be damned if I'll see another Battletoad situation come up. Anything else you guys want to add any other franchises you guys think need to be brought back before we move on to the next topic?
Oh, I I'm tempted, but I won't do it out of the sake of how one offish it is.
All right. Let's see. Anime that are too much. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like anime where it's like, okay, like I was with you until you did this, and now it's too much, and now I got to leave you guys because you're going too far. It's a bridge too far. There was the line, you crossed it.
It's short
I can't
anime
go with
that
you.
jumped the shark.
Not
right?
jump the shark, but it's just like, okay, this is too much. Like, okay, like the moment you realized in Naruto Shippuden that the people in charge of it, you could clearly tell he'd written himself into a corner. He'd written himself into a corner. He made the antagonist so powerful that there was no way the protagonist could ever get strong enough to defeat it. So he had to write himself out the corner.
I'm in the same boat with you, though. I have to say, mine's is one of the other big names in anime that had almost an entire year of episodes, as in one episode for one day of the year. Bleach.
But I like Bleach though. But I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, and that would be right after the um the say the arc that takes place in the Soul Society.
I'll tell you why I like Bleach. Because every power up that Ichigo gains in order to overcome his enemies, he earns that shit. It's not just, we pulled this from out of our behinds in order to make our characters more powerful.
That's the thing. I know that, but it feels like the creator ran out of inspiration during the arc that happened after the Soul Society.
Oh, I agree with you, but I mean, the overarching plot of Bleach is Ichigo earns his abilities. It's not like Deus Ex Machina. Yeah. He becomes more powerful just because we need to have our protagonist become more powerful. Kanoshi, do you have one?
Well, if I would have watched this one when it was airing, and I'm glad I didn't, because if I did, I would have just jumped off the ship and said, forget it. Was the Infinite Tsukiyomi filler arc in Naruto Shippuden.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really, guys? You just couldn't take a hiatus? Like,
no.
There was one aspect of that arc I found interesting. It was the what if. It was the what if arc, and I found that aspect interesting. I mean, it's obviously rushed. You know, there's stuff that they did to that what if arc that didn't make a ton of sense, but that was only interesting filler in that arc. What if Naruto's parents were still alive? And what if this and that? So I thought that was interesting, but that Infinite Tsukiyomi arc where it just went on forever and ever and ever, it's like, man, okay, you guys just should have just taken a hiatus. But we gotta keep making money, and we can't.
Yeah, they were under contract. They were under contract.
Yeah.
They were like, shit, we gotta. Like the thing that bothers me about Naruto is that there's just series of bad creative decisions. Like Really, when they ended Shippuden with its shitty ass ending, they should have done okay. Let's do like okay. We've done an anime. Naruto and Naruto Shippuden were about Naruto Uzumaki, who, thanks to being fused with the Kitsune, the
Nine
demon
Tails.
Kitsune, the demon, the Nine Tails kaiju beast, is basically
Yeah.
like overpowered as fuck. Except it's hard for him to control his chakra, so he can't do certain jutsus. But other ones, he's got so much chakra that he can just do whatever the fuck he wants. Okay, fair enough.
And what really was like once Boruto came out, it's like, yeah, the Naruto franchise is done for me.
Yeah,
This is
well,
terrible.
instead of doing Boruto, they should have done the story of Rock Lee, because Rock Lee was an interesting character, and unlike Naruto, who can do jutsus, it's just hard for him to control certain ones. Rock Lee has no external jutsu abilities. Everything with him is body training, which makes him an inherently more interesting character. And that would have been a more interesting story to have. Okay, how does this guy who can't use conventional abilities in the ninja universe?
How can he stand out against people that have
Yeah,
eyes that could do illusions? Some people that could summon giant beasts from their
yeah.
bodies
How is he gonna stack up with
with
these
smoke,
motherfuckers?
or
That would have
basically
been
launch fire
yeah.
balls.
Now we got to focus on Naruto's shitty ass son. It's like I
Well,
don't.
that's kind of why I like My Hero Academia, because the main character wasn't born with special abilities.
Yeah, that
He didn't have a quirk like
those other people.
like the
Yeah,
rest.
but he
Yeah,
wound up getting a really awesome quirk, all for one.
yeah.
Which is, I mean, yeah, until he learns how to control it, is slowly killing him, but it's still pretty badass.
So I mean, plus, could you imagine? And going back to Rock Lease, he can learn how to better control the gates of opening.
I was about to say, there's one gate I hope he doesn't master, because that's supposed to be a death gate.
Yeah, I'm just saying it would be cool to follow the adventure of Rock Lee, because like I said, he's an interesting character, and it's like, okay, like what if he says, fuck this village, I'm tired of these people. I mean, like I said, we've gone over before what Naruto's ending should have been and how things should have been done and how they fucked that up, but whatever. Um,
What they could have done instead of creating Boruto, they could have made a series where maybe a Rock Lee type character, just a character in the future. Naruto's much older. He's like it's kind of like uh, before the third Hokage died. He would be like the old sort of sage of the village.
yeah, I had my adventures, and now it's time for the new generation.
And then he teaches someone, and then ultimately he trains them up and passes on a portion of his demon fox spirit onto that individual.
I was with you until you did that.
What?
I was with you until you did that. I don't think giving the Kyuubi to anyone, even a portion of that power, is because essentially the different spirit beasts are basically the equivalent of a nuclear weapon. Like that's not something you give to someone else. Hey, you can have this nuclear weapon.
No, but
Here,
they would have
this
to.
nuclear weapon.
They would have to prove themselves. It's not like you would simply give it over to them. They would have to prove themselves. They would have to train themselves. It's like Killer B when he got the eight tails. He had to train to be able to deal with getting the eight tails.
Yeah, but Naruto Naruto had to do that. That in order for him to even use the Nine Tails power, he had to make that deal with him. Once he got powerful enough, he'd have to free the Nine Tails anyway.
Oh.
I don't think like if he was with Naruto that long, he'd be like, yeah, I want to be under a new guy who's not gonna let me go.
Yeah,
That's gonna be great. But I get what you're saying.
Apparently in the Boruto manga, apparently they kill Kurama, and I'm just kind of like, okay, now this is really stupid.
Yeah, I mean, like
how do you kill
a demonic god beast? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like they're supposed to be manifestations of energy.
Dude,
they're like pure energy manifest.
Let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100% real. When they did the ending of Shippuden, where they basically pulled all this shit out of their ass because they had made, they had made the two antagonists so powerful that none of the protagonists could win. They basically pulled the ending out of their ass, and then they teamed up together for friendship. Whatever. That was the moment in that anime where I was like, well, fuck this, I'm done. They had me, but then I was like, I'm done.
The mother of Jutsu was kind of a stupid plot point. I felt like that was just pulled out of nowhere, as well as the Black Zetsue. I also felt like that was just, oh, we need to wrap this story up. We've been going for about 20 years. We need to finish this.
I mean, to be honest with you, I've said this before. I think Naruto should have ended with, maybe Naruto and Sasuke team up to take on Madara Uchiha. That should have just been the villain. None of this. Well, the spirit of chakra and all that shit. That should have been the final fight, and then like Naruto and Sasuke should have had their second battle against each other, and like Naruto's like, look, man, we're gonna have to fight because this is what we're gonna have to do because you want to destroy the village, and I can't let that happen because this is my home, and one of them was gonna have to die, and that's the end of it. None of this, the power of friendship. Fuck that shit, man. One of them had to die. And that should have been the end of it.
I mean, he alluded to that too early on in the series that there's essentially going to be a point where if they fight each other, they're both gonna die, or one of them's gonna die.
And then I mean, you could have done a sequel series, but it would have been like, okay, like Naruto is now Hokage. It's like 20 years in the future, and he's like, okay, like a new generation of ninjas, and the same lesson that the previous Hokage and Tsunade the Hokage and the fourth, a ninja's life is about sacrifice. Like, you're not gonna there ain't no fucking happy endings with this shit. It's sacrifices. It's all about sacrifices. That's the whole fucking point of Naruto. And then they cheaped out on the ending by saying, well, no, it's about friendship. Man, fuck you. That's where I'm kind of like, okay, this is too much. Anyway, next section, next story. Okay then. Final little bit. What upcoming games or expansions are you looking forward to this spring and summer? Who wants to go first?
What's coming out again this summer, anyway?
I mean, we've got some good games. I mean, some games I'm looking forward to. I can't speak for everyone. I'm looking forward to Megaten 3, Shin Megami Tensei 3. It's hitting PC and Switch. I'm getting it on PC because then I can cheat my ass off. Because the last time I played that game on the PS2, PS2, that game was soul crushingly hard. And I don't want to go through a Megaten game that's soul crushingly hard again. So I'm going to be playing it with cheats on. And then we have Dark Alliance for D&D, the new Dark Alliance game that's basically taking the idea from the Dark Alliance games on PC and PS2 and GameCube and quote-unquote modernizing them. And it's a budget title. It's like $39.99, which is cool. They're making an expansion to the retro first-person shooter Ion Fury. And it's using the latest version of the build engine. For those of you who don't know, the build engine is the same engine that was used to create Duke Nukem 3D and a myriad of other games back in the day. So, yeah. So those are 3 games I'm looking forward to. Any games coming out this summer that you guys are like, yeah? Or at least later on this year, if you don't want to say this summer.
I'm looking forward to that Skyward Sword re-release. I think I'm gonna try to give that game a second chance. And with the Switch controllers, you probably won't have to worry about recalibrating
in the middle of a fucking fight.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind recalibrating, but in the middle of a fight?
Yeah.
Seriously?
And with the higher frame rate, every swing should feel a little more accurate. But we'll see. What else is Nintendo coming out this? What else is? I don't remember everything that's coming out this summer. I know there's a lot of.
Oh boy.
I can look it up. Summer games, summer game releases. 2021. PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. This is on CNET. A new Pokemon Snap. Don't give a shit. Returnal. Don't really give a shit.
I hope that game finds its way to PC because that game looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's on the PS5, but I'm like, Resident Evil Village. Now, Deathloop. That looks interesting. Comes out in May.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting that on PC. Knockout City, free to play, but it's from EA, so I'm kind of like, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. This might push me to getting a PS5. Maybe.
It's coming out this summer? I thought that was delayed.
No, it's coming out June 11th. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. This is like an expansion with everyone's favorite character that no one gives a shit about anyway, Yuffie.
Well, I'm not surprised.
No one gives a shit about Yuffie. No one playing Final Fantasy VII was ever like, oh joy, Yuffie. No one ever gave a shit about Yuffie. No one gave a shit about Yuffie. No one gave a shit about Kate Sith. Those were 2 Final Fantasy VII characters no one ever gave a shit about. Okay?
And I give Sith more credit than Yuffie.
Yeah, but Yuffie was ultra no one gave a shit about. Kate Sith was interesting because he was the traitor in your group. And he's like afterwards he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I fucked up. No shit. It's like like here's order of importance of important characters in Final Fantasy VII, playable characters, okay? Number 1, Cloud. Number 2, Aerith, because early in the game she's like geared towards being your best healer. Number 2, Barrett, and number 3, Tifa. Number 5, maybe Red 13. You can swap that with Vincent Valentine. Number 6, Sid. Number 8, Kate Sith. Number 9, Yuffie. Like, she's at the bottom of the list.
Ooh.
Then you get Mario Golf Super Rush. That's June 25th. Oh, so there you go. That's a game I'm looking forward to. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. I'm glad they made all those additions, but the problem is that I fucking hate Skyward Sword with a passion, so no. No More Heroes 3 is coming out August 27th, so there's like 2 games on here I'm looking forward to. Mario Golf and No More Heroes 3. Yeah. Here's something else. Here's some more games that they don't have an exact date for. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Those games can eat shit and die as far as I'm concerned. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. I'm kind of interested in it. I'm hoping that the remake includes the Game Boy Advance version of Prince of Time, Sands of Time. That's actually a pretty good little 2D game. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I like Lego Star Wars games, but the fact that it includes those 3 shitty Disney movies in them makes me not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Far Cry 6, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, definitely getting that. Halo Infinite, Lords of the Rings, Golem, It has a cute golem on it, which is just terrible. Because Golem is not cute.
Who the heck thinks he's cute?
He fucking strangles goblins with his ring, and fucking the ring turned him into an ugliest, hideous little fucking drug addict. Why would you? I know they're like, oh, we want to make this appealing to kids by making them play as a little vicious little drug addict, because that's what he is. He's like a fiending little crackhead, except his drug of choice is the One Ring. So much so that Golem is also the hero of the entire story, because he takes the hit because like Frodo is addicted to the ring, and then Golem gnaws his finger off in order to get it and falls into the volcano at Mordor to destroy the ring. So arguably the hero of the entire story is Golem. Because he's the one who actually tosses the ring into the volcano.
He's yeah. I mean, a lot of people like that character, maybe because of Andy Serkis's performance or whatever. But
I knew him first because I read the books. But I'm just saying, he's like a little drug addict who saves the world inadvertently. It's not because he wanted to. It was inadvertent. What?
I think the majority of people who are in the Lord of the Rings probably watch the movies, because those figs they're thick. Those books are pretty long.
I mean, here's what I'll admit to. The Lord of the Rings books, Tolkien's writing is really fucking dry. Like imagine a Popeye's biscuit and then put it in the oven for 30 minutes. But then forget about it, turn off the oven, and just leave it in there for another 2 hours, and then try and eat it. Yeah, that's Tolkien's writing. The only thing about Tolkien that is exciting is when he's writing about food. His action scenes are dry as fuck. They're dry as the desert. So yeah, Horizon Forbidden West. Comes out 2021. It's the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. So, I mean, if you like that game, it's getting a sequel. God of War Ragnarok. It's apparently coming out this year. Meh. I don't really give a shit. Just a lot of games I don't really give a shit about. There you go. So there you go, folks. Some breaking news. Reggie Fils-Aimé has left the GameStop board.
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
He got off that sinking shit while he could. I don't blame him. Fuck this shit. My body wasn't ready. I'm being facetious. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So there's some good games coming out. It's just, they're not interesting to me, but I'm pretty sure other people might find shit interesting to them. To each his own. Like not everyone likes the same food. Not everyone likes the same games. but not all foods and games are equal or good. So, there you go. Anyone else have anything else they want to say before we wrap things up? Nothing?
No.
I'm all right.
No one has anything they want to pimp out? Okay. Well, I'll pimp some shit out. I'm currently doing a let's play of Octopath Traveler on PC, playing with a trainer because I have this game on the Switch as well, and I'm not grinding through the PC version like I did on the Switch. I'm just not, I did that shit once. I'm not doing it again through another playthrough. So I'm cheating, and I feel okay with that.
And Octopath, for anybody who's interested, Octopath Traveler is on sale. So
that is correct.
It's on sale right now for half off, $30.
That is correct. It's on sale, and there's no expansions or anything. Like, Octopath Traveler is a great game, and I really do think Square Enix could have made a expansion for it with extra content, because it could have really used it. Because once you beat the game, that's it. Like, there's nothing else beyond that. You beat it, that's it. It's one of the flaws of the game. Also, another flaw of the game is that every time a new party member joins you, they start at level 1, which means you got to spend some time grinding or use a cheat like I'm doing. Then everyone can have maxed out stats and maxed out levels. But anyway, Octopath Traveler is a great game. You guys, if you want to play, if you want a good style, old school style RPG, like if you want an RPG in the vein of Squaresoft and not Square Enix, which is the watered down bullshit we've been getting from Square Enix for years now, then Octopath Traveler is for you. If you're one of these new age RPG people who like that fancy graphics, high resolution, pretty boy shit that Square Enix does now with Final Fantasy, this game is not for you. Go play something else.
That I can fully agree with. And if anything, I at least enjoy Bravely Default as well as Octopath Traveler.
I gotta disagree. Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler are very similar to one another, except Bravely Default has some issues that Octopath Traveler doesn't. For one thing, the art style in Octopath Traveler is better. The fact that none of the characters are these shonen tropes is also refreshing. The story in Octopath Traveler is far darker than anything you've gotten in any of the Bravely Defaults.
Yeah.
Very mature. Like, you're like, oh man, this is going to be like Final Fantasy VI. Shit.
Agree on.
There's rape, murder, betrayal. I mean, just some really dark shit. And it was Bravely Default's like, no, it's your friends, the power of friendship, man. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. I'm 35 years old. Look, I grew up on that fluff cotton candy shit. I want something a little bit darker these days. Octopath Traveler.
Oh, come on. You can't be all that. You can't all be sour.
No, but if you grow up on it, like if you start, like I started playing RPGs when I was like 5 years old on the NES with like Final Fantasy 1. And then I was playing RPGs on the Game Boy, not Pokemon, like other RPGs on the Game Boy. And then I started playing RPGs on the SNES, and all of them were SquareSoft RPGs because it was SquareSoft at the time, and everything they had was very sanitized and nice and friendly and just, so 5 years old all the way up to 10, so that's 5 years, 15, 10 years, 20, 25, 30. Like, I've played enough of the sweet, sentimental bullshit that at this point I want games that have a little bit more of a mature, or not even just mature, but more realistic storyline. Yeah, it's a fantastic world. There's magic, but not everyone. The power of friendship isn't going to overcome everything, and sometimes the good guys don't win. Uh, so anyway, yeah. Octopath Traveler for me is just a better game. It's got better characters, character writing, better story. Bravely Default is nice for what it is, but it's not at the same level as Octopath Traveler.
And for me, he usually plays the dub version of a lot of these JRPGs. That's some of the best voice acting I've seen in a JRPG.
What, you've been playing it in English?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I played it on the Switch, I played it in Japanese. The voice acting is good, but I just
I get people who prefer the Japanese, but yeah, I was very, because a lot of JRPG voice acting, especially in English, seems
shitty,
somewhat stale. But
yeah,
and I was very surprised with this game because I wasn't expecting it to. I wasn't expecting the people that in charge of the voice acting, voice actors, and the voice, obviously the director, to put as much effort as they did. So.
Oh yeah, it's very good. Like I said, Octopath Traveler to me is one of the best Squaresoft. It reminds me of Squaresoft back in the day versus what Square Enix is today. It's very good. Like I said, one of the best RPGs that's come out of Square Enix in a very long time. I feel kind of bad that there's no direct sequel to it. That's kind of like a. I wish it had a direct sequel, but fuck it. Can't have everything.
True.
So anyway, that's my that's what I'm pimping out. Octopath Traveler. It's a really good game. Any games you guys want to pimp out? Just to let people know, this shit is the real deal, and you should be playing it, or else I will make you suffer. No, I'm joking.
It's hard. It's hard to me to recommend anything without having you rip into it. So if anything, I'm keeping my mouth shut.
No, you can recommend it. I'm not gonna rip into it.
I recommend Valheim. That's a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
I haven't played a lot of it because there's other games I want to focus on right now. But if you can find a group of friends, and play Valheim.
It's one of those games where friends really do help.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to play by yourself, especially if you have somebody that knows what they're doing.
I'm getting back into trying to. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. For me, I'm basically trying to get back into puzzle games a little bit. So my recommendation: Puyo Tetris 2.
Yeah, I heard that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I heard they improved some of the issues that were from the first game into this one. So I'm okay with that.
And they even got some power-ups to go with it.
That's cool. Not against that. Anytime people improve on their games and don't rest on their laurels and just keep on releasing the same shit over and over again, I'm okay with. When people when developers start resting on their laurels and they don't strive to do better, that's when I have a problem. But if you're through different iterations making your games better and not resting on the same thing over and over again, I'm looking at you, Pokemon Company. That it's good. Just don't,
Oh, yeah.
don't get lazy and just be like, well, we got it now. Come on, man. Do something different. Shit. Anyway. that's the end of the podcast. Everyone's pimped out what they want to pimp out, so I guess we can wrap things up. So with that being said, rate, comment, share, subscribe. We have a podcast every Saturday and Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Or at least we will. We normally do, unless something pops up or, which we had technical issues and stuff popped up last time.
Well, yeah.
Typically, normally, 7:30 to 9 o'clock every week. I also will occasionally upload things on the channel. Like right now, I'm doing a Let's Play of Octopath Traveler. So, that's something new. So with that being said, rate, comment, share, subscribe. And...
hype responsibly.
That's right. And with that being said, good night. Be safe. And, yeah, just